The sands of Omara Prime sparkled under twin suns, painting golden halos over every dune. For most humans, the heat alone would be unbearable, but Ethan Cade had been through worse. A salvager and freelance technician, Ethan specialized in lost tech, and Omara Prime was full of it. Still, he hadn't expected to find her. In the ruins of a half-buried pre-Union ship, surrounded by scorched bones and vines of metal, he found what looked like a cryochamber. Faded glyphs lined the glass surface. The tech was old, older than the standard galactic cycle. The kind of stuff that could get a man rich or killed depending on who found out he had it. Inside the pod floated a girl. Humanoid in appearance, but definitely alien. Skin a faint lavender with iridescent markings glowing softly along her collarbone and down her arms. Her eyes fluttered open as Ethan's torchlight flicked over the control panel. Then, with a hiss of ancient hydraulics and a sudden flare of emergency power, the chamber popped open. The girl bolted upright, gasping. "'Tis the war, where's Commander Ilketh?" she cried, her voice heavy with an accent Ethan couldn't place. She looked around wildly. Who triggered the bonding mechanism? Ethan stepped back, hands raised. "Hey, I'm just here salvaging. You all right?" Her gaze snapped to his. Those luminous silver eyes locked onto his wrist, and widened in horror. "No," she whispered. No. "What?" Ethan glanced down. At some point while working the control panel, a strange bracelet had clamped onto his wrist. Thin, smooth metal with glowing lines and alien symbols. This thing. It just appeared. She covered her face, pacing in a circle, muttering to herself in a language he couldn't translate. Then she froze. "You wore it," she said darkly. "You put it on." "I didn't mean to," Ethan protested. "It latched on by itself." "You wore the bonding bracelet of Zinthari Command heritage," she snapped. "That's not some souvenir, human. That's a life pair marker." "Wait, what?" The girl groaned. "We're bonded. Life partners. Spirit-linked. There's no undoing it." "Hold on." Ethan held up both hands. "Are you saying we're married?" "Not married, you dull-blooded groundwalker," she snarled. "This is worse." Middle. Her name was Erin Talvareth, a command strategist for the Zinthari Imperium during the Fifth Expansion War, over 200 years ago. Her unit had been stranded during a last-ditch mission behind enemy lines. She'd gone into stasis with the last of her energy cores, never expecting to wake. Ethan listened as they camped in the derelict ship, her telling tales of spacefaring conquests and star-forged oaths. The more she explained, the more Ethan realized how deep he was in trouble. "You bonded with me by activating a command-level artifact," Erin said as they sat by a jury-rigged heat lamp. "You're now linked to me biologically, psychically, and legally in 12 star systems, 4 of which still exist. If the Zinthari ever reform, we'll be called to serve as a unit. Together." "Okay, first of all, I didn't ask for this," Ethan said. "Second, I'm a technician. Fix things. I don't fight intergalactic wars." "Too late," she replied with venom. The bracelet wouldn't come off. Ethan tried plasma cutters, freezing it, even radiation blasts. Nothing worked. The metal responded only to Erin's proximity, and it hurt if he strayed too far from her. "I'm not a fan of this either," she muttered one morning, glaring at him as he cooked rations. "You chew like a swamp toad." "Thanks," Ethan said dryly. "Glad we're building that spiritual connection." But despite the bickering, they began to work together. Erin's knowledge of alien tech was unparalleled. She could decipher core codes of long-forgotten satellites and teach drones to behave like pets. Ethan's knack for systems meant he could rebuild comm links and shields faster than she could finish barking an order. Over the next few weeks, they scavenged together, upgraded their shelter, and even began modifying a long-abandoned dropship. As they traded stories, Ethan's childhood on the Martian Rim colonies, Erin's upbringing in the high circuits of Zinthari, they began to understand each other. She taught him ancient battle chants. He showed her how to bypass corrupted AI using chewing gum and grit. Then came the bounty signal. It was faint, almost lost in the static of an old galactic relay, but it pinged with urgency. Ethan Cade marked for capture. Not dead. Capture. The kind of bounty that meant someone wanted him, and the bracelet, intact. They know, Erin said, her expression grim. The war-born raiders. They must have cracked an ancient beacon. They'll come for the bracelet. And me. And me, Ethan added dryly. They'll want to dissect you, she nodded. At least they'll try to recruit. That's reassuring. With no options left, they accelerated the dropship's repairs. Erin reawakened some dormant Zinthari combat codes in the ship's neural core. Ethan scrambled to make the old drives functional. I hate this bond, she told him one night, eyes soft despite the harsh words. But I don't hate you. Strange creature. Likewise, Ethan said with a smirk. For someone who wanted to kill me a week ago, you make decent company. Then the ship's alarm screamed. A raider skiff, painted black with red thermal scorch marks, descended through the sky like a vulture. Their ship was only 40% flight ready. They had to fight. Ending. Erin led the defense, moving with the precision of a born tactician. She ordered turrets into position, activated the half-finished shield grid, and directed Ethan to power up the main cannon with an improvised fusion core. Raider drones hit hard, a wave of buzzing machines pouring into the broken ruins. Ethan, guided by Erin's voice in his comm, used the linked bracelet to trigger ancient weaponry embedded in the ground, turrets and pulse mines that recognized his new genetic tag. They pushed back the first wave, then the second. But the third came with a shock trooper, 8 feet tall, powered armor humming with dark energy. It crashed through the wreckage like a beast, roaring toward Erin. Ethan dove between them, firing a bolt that barely scratched the trooper's armor. Ethan, you idiot! Erin shouted. You'll get yourself killed. I'm your partner, remember? Lifelong or whatever. The trooper raised its weapon, then froze. The bracelet on Ethan's wrist flared bright gold, and the trooper's armor locked up. Symbols appeared in the air, Zinthari override codes. Erin gasped. Of course, she whispered. The bond isn't just ceremonial. You're now a command class unit. You can override older tech. The trooper's armor imploded, knocking it unconscious. The rest of the raiders scattered. By morning, the wreckage was silent. Smoke drifted into the air, and the sky was a hazy pink. Erin stood beside Ethan at the edge of the drop zone, arms crossed, her lavender skin bruised but proud. You could have died, she said. You'd miss me, he replied. Don't flatter yourself. They turned to the dropship, patched, scorched but functional. Erin hesitated, then looked at him. We need to leave. The signal will bring more. But if you want out, now's your chance. Once we leave this planet, there's no going back. Ethan looked at the bracelet, then at her. Guess I'm stuck with you, huh? She gave a half-smile. It's tradition to mark the bond with a symbolic gesture, usually a blade dance or telepathic merge.